All right, so let's look at some of these and let's practice. So looking at this first one, this gives me my boundaries, that my left-hand boundary is at -5, my right-hand boundary is at 2. This is x, so we're talking vertical here. So I'm going to make a solid vertical line at -5. All right, and I'm going to make a dotted or dashed vertical line at 2. And we will shade between them. And so that is saying that anything between those two lines is our solution. Remember, if it lands on the line, it is a solution here. If it lands on the line over here, it is not. Cannot be included on the line. Don't forget my arrows. All right, and let's check this one out. Change the color just for fun. Red's my fave. All right, so Y's. So we're dealing with horizontal here because this is all about the Y. So I've got my lower boundary and my upper boundary. Notice they are both just less thans, okay? So no or equal to, so we're going to be dealing with a dashed line on both. So we're going to make a dashed horizontal at -4, and we're going to make a dashed horizontal at 5. And this kind of an inequality is showing that we're just going to go ahead and shade between the two. So our solution is anywhere between those two lines. Anything lying on the line on both of these would not be included. All right, so now let's graph a few at a time here. Let's start with this one. X is less than 5. So if it's X alone, we've got a vertical line. So vertical line at 5. It's not or equal to, so I'm going to go ahead and dash it. And we're talking less, so less goes left on our X's. So I'm going to shade, so really we just got all of this included. All right, now let's look at the next one. We can kind of start narrowing down our selection. Whoopsie daisies. So that one we're going to do in purple. So starting at 1, we are going to go up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2. We'll go the other way, down 1, left 2, down 1, left 2. This will be a solid line because it is or equal to. I missed. All right, so we're just going to slide that over. Ta-da. All right. Now this does say y is less. So that means from our y-intercept, we're going to go down. So that shows us that we have now eliminated that top red section, and we are kind of narrowing down where our solution might actually end up. So it's somewhere in here so far. This now doesn't matter. Kind of ignore that a little bit. And let's jump to our next one. Let's do it in green. All right, starting at 4. Now we're going to go down 2 because it's negative and right 1. So down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. And this is a solid line because it is or equal to. So I'm going to see if I can make it. Yay. All right. Now this says y is greater than. So from my y-intercept, I want to go up. So that means everything on this side of this line is golden. But remember, we don't care about this part because the purple didn't get in here, and we need everybody to overlap. So all we care about is right here. So if I'm greater than, I'm up in this area, but we're just looking for where everybody overlaps, which is just going to be right in here. So again, remember, make sure that you are solidifying your final answer, so that I'm not looking and going, I'm not sure if they know where their final answer is. Make sure you're letting me know that you know. So our final answer is in this little section right here. And all the rest of this is just work. Feel free to go back and erase it. Alrighty, here we go. Let's look at another one. So y is less than or equal to negative x plus 4. So we're going to go ahead and start at 4. And down 1 over 1. Remember, that's just 1 over 1. So down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, all the way through. And this is a solid line, so we're going to draw a solid line. Close enough. And it is less than. So from our y-intercept, we're going to go down. Everything on this side of the line is where we're shading. Okay, and now we've narrowed it down to our solution is somewhere in here. We don't care about that corner. And let's find the next equation here. Y is less than 3, so that's a y value is horizontal, so we're going to make a solid line at 3 because of that wonderful or equal to. Alrighty, and it says less. So we're going to shade below. Now again, I'm doing everything below, but I don't really care about this, right? We've already knocked that out as that is not in our option. So I'm just going to shade below and ignore all the parts that's not overlapping. Okay, so now we've narrowed down a little smaller section here. Let's get the next equation going. Let's do purple. All right, so that's y is greater than or equal to 0, so another horizontal line at 0. And it is solid because of the or equal to. And we're doing greater than on this one, so instead of going below the line like we did in green, we're going to go above the line in purple. So that means everything up here, but remember guys, we only care about where overlap has happened, so really just right there. So we're going to shade right here. This is our section we have left over. And we got one more equation to do. So let's go blue. So at this point, we know our solution is somewhere in here, and we're probably going to make it even smaller with our blue equation here. So starting at -1, going down to over 1, down to over 1, down to right 1, go the opposite way up to left 1, follow that pattern, up to left 1, we're making a line. And this is a solid line because it's or equal to, so all of these have been solid lines. All right, line is drawn to perfection. Y is greater than this line, so from the y-intercept I'm going to go above. So we would do everything here, but again, we only care about where all of our overlap has been. So at this point, I might have gone back and like kind of erased some of this, lightened it up a little bit so I know I don't care. Uh-oh, I just gave you the answer, sorry. So now it is greater than, so from here I'm going to go up, and the only place that I have all of my overlap, remember the leftover section was only here, so I really just care about that little squad in the middle. Ta-da-da. We can erase that a little bit. And you can kind of solidify that for me and shade that in a little bit darker so that you can tell me your final answer is just right there in the middle. All right, and the final example here. Let's go ahead and start with red. So starting at 4, and then I'm going to go down 3, right 2, 2, 3, right 2, 1, 2, 3, right 2. All right, that is a solid line. Actually, I'm looking here. They're all solid lines because they're all or equal to. So all of these are going to be solid. This particular equation says y is less than, so we're going to drop below. I'm going to shade everything below here. Make that a little bigger. All right, and then let's look at our next equation here. X is greater than or equal to 0, so remember X is a vertical line, so I'm going to make a solid vertical line at 0. And this is saying X is greater, so our numbers on the X-axis get greater as I go to the right, so everything here would get shaded. But I don't care about this already. We've already decided that's not important. And so now we're going to shade this part to the right. and start to narrow down our leftover solution. So at this point, this is what's important. All of the rest of this has been forgotten. So you can kind of go in and lighten up that shading. And the final y is greater than or equal to 0. So that is a horizontal line because it's a y alone. So horizontal line at 0. And we're talking greater than, so we're going to look at above. So again, we would look at all of this, but we've already narrowed down that we don't care about this spot and we don't care about this spot. And this spot's the only place we've had overlap. So then our final is just going to be in that little triangle. Just right there. All right, so again, I'm going to go ahead. If I'm a student, I'm going to go back and I'm going to darken in my final answer a little bit so that your teachers know what you know. All right, guys, I hope that helped. Make sure to ask Mrs. Gonzalez or Mr. Burkett or myself, Mrs. Campbell, any questions that you have along the way. And good job. Time to get mathy.